the U.S. wants to talk to them. So Grossman loves the Taliban but hates Pakistan. The U.S. hates Haqqani. Pakistan thinks Haqqani is somebody you can work with. So you can see how it's dividing up. It could be that this entire thing is just a fraud, that it's simply the pseudo counter-gang Taliban, that the U.S. is negotiating with its own counter-gang and using that then to show that they're trying to do something. Another important strategic aspect in the background, there will be a meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Shanghai on June 15th. June 15th, that's in the middle of the next month, a little bit less than a month from now, in Shanghai. This, of course, is China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Mongolia, Pakistan, and India are observers. This might be a chance to mediate, Russia, China mediating between Pakistan and India. I would hope so. Hu Jintao of China meets a group of Shanghai Cooperation Organization country journalists, praises the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. He praises the anti-terror drills. The SCO will have its own anti-terror drills. I imagine anti-terror means the U.S. and the British. Who else would it be? Everybody talks about terrorism. They do too. So Hu Jintao also says the diplomatic relations of Russia and China are at an unprecedented high point. They are better than ever. China getting along with Russia better than ever before. And he says this has an obvious strategic ingredient. That means Washington. If it's China, it's also Russia. So you pick a fight with Pakistan. Behind Pakistan is China. Behind China is Russia. Get the idea? And if you insist on this, you get a world war. And amazing as it might seem. And again, people in July 1914 couldn't believe what was happening. The Germans of August of 1939 couldn't believe it was yet another world war. So we got Saif, the new head of Al-Qaeda, comfortably ensconced in North Waziristan, just the place to send in the helicopters and get this going. Secretary Gates, the founder of Al-Qaeda, says, somebody knew. Yeah, you knew, Gates. You knew. That was an agreed-on operation. That was sanctioned. That was your own pseudo bin Laden that you were running from there. A couple of other things, right? Remember, if the Pakistanis are put with their backs to the wall by these blabbermouths like Kerry, they can say, dear U.S., what's with Ray Davis? Why was he transferring these strategic weapons of mass destruction into the hands of Taliban terrorists, presumably the counter-gang version? And what's with David Headley? What's with the Drug Enforcement Administration agent who was the key figure in the attack on Mumbai? Now, other things are also opening up. The Pakistanis have a nuclear complex. These are peaceful nuclear reactors. This is called Kushab, K-H-U-S-H-A-B, K-H-U-S-H-A-B. This is now the fourth reactor. It's a reactor complex. They're building the fourth one. And the Daily Mail of London, the London tabloid, boy, they are so hysterical about this. They are doing the war propaganda bit. This is like the British, you know, the German fleet menace before 1914, that the eyebrows of the U.S. have been raised by the fact that the Chinese are building this nuclear reactor really fast. Well, this has nothing to do with military stuff. They say it's a weapons-grade reactor. This is ridiculous. If you want to have weapons research, you don't build a power reactor. You can have a research reactor for so much less, and it's much easier to keep secret. It's not out in the open. This is absolutely idiotic. But the Daily Mail will try anything to get war hysteria against Pakistan. So you get the idea. They're pulling out all the stops. Selig Harrison, this is somebody to watch. Selig Harrison. And he's from the Woodrow Wilson Center. This is obviously a top spook. his writing in various strategic papers here, the national interest and so forth, save Baluchistan, free Baluchistan. And it's time for the U.S., he says, to support the secession of Baluchistan from Pakistan. And there was a big conference here in Washington in February of the Baluchistan Lobby, the Baloch Society of the United States or of North America, coming together with their various congressional friends, think tankers, spooks, and others. So you get the idea, right? This was the Rigi organization. That was the Jundullah was the main force of this. But then, of course, the Iranians were able to capture Rigi, and that's the end of Rigi. So Selig Harrison also writing another article, China cozies up to Pakistan. China cozies up to Pakistan. You can see the think tankers are hysterical about this too. So Idaho Republican Senator Risch, R-I-S-H, again, very obscure, but here he is complaining about friendly relations between Pakistan and China. That's a threat to the United States. So WikiLeaks had to get into the act. The CIA limited hangout operation, the CIA stooges over at WikiLeaks put out now a paper showing General Kayani of Pakistan is a hypocrite. He was asking for more Predator drone strikes, not less. Now, at what point does the world say WikiLeaks is not simply a leak operation? What they leak is doctored. Now, whether the individual nihilist at WikiLeaks who puts this out has any idea of what's in these things, I don't know. But the leakers are obviously free to falsify these embassy cables any way they want and then put them out. So, again, WikiLeaks is building quite a track record of being at the right place at the right time with the right disinformation. For who? For the CIA. So all of you characters who are so worked up about WikiLeaks should take note. Bradley Manning, of course, is crucified. He should be let free, no doubt about that. But why? To cover up the fact that Assange is living like a king, the pampered darling of the international media, living in a British country house, brought to him auspices of British military intelligence. Nobody's laid a glove on Assange. So that's the build-up. That's the build-up to July 1914. And what comes in August 1914 or September 1939, you all know. So time to get active or get radioactive. Back in a minute. Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Big stories now. Chinese ultimatum to the United States. Back off Pakistan. Any attack on Pakistan will be construed as an attack on China. That is clear. That couldn't be any clearer. Back off. Gilani also. Anybody interfering with our strategic assets, meaning nuclear forces, will face full force retaliation. That's got to mean firing off some of these nukes if it means anything. So that is the situation. The first time in my lifetime that I know of, a great power, China, has issued, in effect, an ultimatum to the United States. This was done privately during the U.S.-Chinese strategic dialogue last week. And all of this comes out of the bin Laden circus stunt. Now, concerning Obama, we want to talk in the next segment about Obama and his crazy speech on the Middle East. You notice his big thing is he wants the IMF and the World Bank to rule Tunisia and Egypt. Boy, if there's anything you don't want to have happen to your revolution, is to the IMF to come in and take it over. And Obama's pretending that that's doing them a favor. But now, specifically on Libya, on May 20th, and that would be today, we reach the 60-day limit on the War Powers Act. Now, Obama has not submitted anything to the Congress that I know of. That means he's got 30 days to get out of Libya, to stop bombing Libya. And if he doesn't, he has violated the War Powers Act. That is impeachable. That could be an item in an impeachment bill. So that's important to bear in mind concerning the legal status of one Barry Soetoro, a.k.a. Barack Hussein Obama, a.k.a. The other one is Jerome Corsi, a right-winger. I guess we can say he's a reactionary, although not maybe one of the most extreme, but that's a matter of opinion. Corsi's preparing a biography of Obama, And Esquire magazine on their website put out a hoax in the last 48 hours saying that the biography was going to be withdrawn. That Joseph Farah of World Net Daily was so freaked out about the Obama birth certificate that he was going to destroy 200,000 copies were going to be shredded. And it turns out that's a complete hoax. So this is a direct attack on the First Amendment, and Esquire magazine doing its best to suppress interesting things undoubtedly that Corsi will have in that book. So let's go immediately to Philadelphia and get an update on the Obama birth certificate and presidential qualification in general, under especially the heading Indonesia. And let's get that update from Phil Berg, the guy who started it all in August of 2008. Welcome, Phil.
Thank you, Webster. Right now, we're so perplexed, we're not sure which way to move first, because the audacity of the White House to come out with that phony birth certificate about 2 weeks ago. And now, I don't know if you've seen the latest, they're trying to use that to make fun of it by putting it, if you make a contribution on the back of a mug or even on the back of a shirt. I have to verify that, but it looks like that's what they're doing. And the thing is, there's so many holes in that document, it's worse than Swiss cheese. And we have to figure out, right now we're all deciding which way to move on that document. But somehow we have to get to the American public just to expose this this fraud on on our country. All the facts are on our website, which is obamacrimes.com. The latest with this birth certificate, it's just there's so many factors there. The first one is that it was prepared in a PDF format. PDF did not exist in 1961. The next thing is there are various layers on the document. That didn't exist in 1961. I think they just figure that here's the birth certificate and everyone will go away. Unfortunately, the national media has not attacked it, but we're looking at several ways to do it. I'm on the brink of hopefully raising some substantial money to be able to put out a reward for the information which will expose Obama. It's out there. I'm sure he's being blackmailed. I'm not sure who, internally or externally. I don't like to get into the issues, but you raise a very good issue, the Libya issue. Today's being the 60th day. And Obama doesn't care about the Constitution, so he doesn't care about Congress. He doesn't care about anything. He's just going to continue in his efforts. And, it's time, like you mentioned, impeachment. Unfortunately, I don't think there's enough people there that would impeach him, but, many things he's done are up for impeachment. But I don't even think you could impeach him because he's not a legitimate person in office. He's a usurper, and as I've stated many times, he's a phony, and this is he's an imposter, and this is the biggest hoax against the United States of America in our history, and we must stand firm on this. Now, we will continue on our efforts. We're trying to decide what, but with the Libya thing, you raised that. Also, the speech that he just made to at the State Department regarding Israel really is unconscionable, that he wants to go back before the 1967 lines. This is, not Netanyahu was coming in to speak with him, and he tried to one-up Netanyahu by giving the speech the day before. And I think that's one of my friends emailed me and said, well, that's like the kiss of death. He's not getting reelected. But we don't know what's going on with the voters out there. I don't understand how voters are still leaning towards him when all the truth has come out, the fact that he is a phony. So we're going to continue our efforts here, and any input from you or your listeners would be greatly appreciated. We're getting ready to file that other lawsuit, which I've discussed several times, under the False Claims Act, because we feel he's not only not natural born, he's not naturalized, but he's an illegal alien, and therefore his term in office as a U.S. Senator was fraud in Illinois, and the salary and benefits there, plus the salary and benefits from him being a fraudulent president, should all be returned to the U.S. Treasury. And we're going to continue on those efforts, and we're going to just do what we can on that. Recall the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has a case which was argued several weeks ago when I was out there with Gary Krepp. So we're hoping that they will send it back down to the district court. So there's a lot going on right now, and also why Obama's doing these things with Libya and Israel and other things. I think that's going to help